Hello, class. My name is Adrian. I wrote my paper on an ESPN article titled College Sports Racial Gender Hiring Practices Getting Worse Instead of Improving. This article was about the gender and racial inequality that still exists within college sports. It specifically looked at the lack of diversity in positions of authority during March Madness. Despite the passing of legislation such as Title IX, we still see a great deal of disparity between racial and gender groups. White males still compose the majority of authority positions such as coaches, managers, and administrators. The article states many statistics that demonstrate this amount of inequity. This topic is important to us as recreation providers because it shows that we still need to find methods of promoting social justice within mainstream sports. The article relates how colleges still only receive a C grade rating on a 2022 college sport racial and gender report card. Other important statistics are that some college sports, such as basketball, have more than 50% black athletes and less than 25% black coaches. Women's sports only have 45% coaches that are women. And Division I through Division III college sports have less than 10% black coaches. The women in coaching positions for Division III sports were more than 88% white. Another striking point from this article is that there are less black coaches for basketball than there were 17 years ago. It was also interesting that despite women having 41.2% of senior leadership positions for the national office of the NCAA, there was only a 23.5% racial minority for this position. When it comes to administrative positions, there was only 57.9% filled by women and only 25.5% were racial minority. Only 23.5% of presidential positions were black, with women making up 41.2% of this position. The article states that one of the factors for this disparity is that more than 78% of athletic directors are white. When we consider the factor of combining characteristics of multiple minority groups, such as from intersectionality, we get an even smaller percentage of diversity. This article goes on to discuss some possible solutions to increasing the diversity for leadership positions. One of the solutions is for athletes to turn towards corporate partners for assistance in pressuring colleges to increase the hiring of minority groups. This point about athletes using their influence to obtain equality was interesting because it is similar to the material that we covered on Jackie Robinson. As we know, Robinson set a precedent for integration into professional baseball. Even when Robinson was the only black athlete on his team, he still was able to overcome a racist power structure. And in our time, we have far more athletes and people in leadership positions who can come together to create even greater equality and equity. The author of this article also suggested implementing what he called a Robinson and Sweet rule, which makes it mandatory to have no less than 2 minority group candidates when hiring for positions of leadership. Even political activist Reverend Jesse Jackson used his organization called Rainbow Push Sports to increase diversity. His organization does this by the use of career fairs where athletes and professionals interact to create greater opportunities for minority groups. Altogether, these methods for social justice that the article talked about were policy change, athlete influence, and political activism. And if we combine these with the concepts we learned in class, then we can achieve even greater social justice.